Let's get into it. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is going to be really interesting. I cheated. I pre-screened this one. I was so nosy I couldn't help myself. I was just like, I want to know what these people are talking about. And it's quite interesting. So let's start the show.
Percent of arrests for murder in 2019 were black. Black women are 7% of the population, 39% of abortions. Felony conviction rate for black individuals is 61%. Black people are 13% of the population, but are incarcerated 38% of the time. I think that people are.
So just to give you context real quick before she continues, this is just a discussion of black fatigue and what it means to each and every one of them. Apparently, you got one, two, about three people who want to head Pearl. And now they're just, Pearl, of course, it's her channel, so she's going to jump right into her argument and how she feels. And as far as I go, I'll just give my definition of black fatigue. I just think it's a stupid thing to say. Like at first it was funny when people were making videos and stuff, just like anyone making video of like crazy white people, right? Like white people doing crazy shit like Jackass. So it got funny at first, but then like when you start really coding, like putting a second layer, third layer of paint on the entire black community, I think that's just where the line gets drawn. And let's have this discussion. Probably going to be a three-part video. Why? I don't know. I just want to talk about it. And if I'm talking to the wall, that's fine too. I guess I could just talk to myself. Anyway, all right, let's continue.
Kind of sick of black people's behavior and excuses for the behavior. And I would say some of the behavior is. This is not all black people, as I always have to say with these kind of conversations, but I would say these are some of the things that people are fatigued of. Black people committing more crime, a lack of basic decorum, a lack of good faith, at times a lack of work ethic, basic manners, sexual behavior in public, dressing overly provocative, taking advantage of white people's good nature, gaslighting, attitude. I could give stories where personally this has happened to me at work, in sports, in cities, and in friend groups. Somebody said microaggressions. I don't really know what that means, but I think that's kind of just an excuse for poor behavior. So that's what I would say it is.
All right.
Go ahead, Ella. Black fatigue, what does it mean to you?
Ella. Oh, Ella.
The original definition. I think that what we're witnessing is the fatigue of just ignorant behavior that all races carry. You know what I'm saying? So I think to just coin it as black fatigue, like what do we call what white people do? Is what's the word for that? Would it just be called, hey, we're just tired of ignorance, we're just tired of, or is it white fatigue? Like to me, black fatigue is what it originally means. But it's just funny to hear white people talk about the side effects of what their people have done to people, and then talk about, hey, I don't know what's wrong with them. Like, how do our people have been disrespected when we behaved at our best? When you look into history, when people get, you know what happened to us, all the violent atrocities, the redlining, those people wasn't sagging their pants. Those people wasn't.
So the only reason why I'm going to pause him there because that has nothing to do with the definition of what he's saying. Now what he's doing is what, let's say, I'm not going to say mostly white people. I'm going to say like all cultures when the whole black movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, and then you had people come in and say, well, all lives matter. This is kind of like what he's doing. I don't know the proper terminology for it because I watch a lot of debates and people always use these words and it's just like, okay, I understood what it meant and then I'll look it up and I just forget. But what he's doing is kind of switching. It's just like, okay, you all given a definition of what black fatigue is, but then he just turned it to say, well, there's white fatigue. And it's just like, okay, there might be white fatigue and we can have that discussion later if I was in that debate, whatever. But right now we're talking about black fatigue and what it means to people so we can get over that curve. Because when you just keep going back and forth, and now he's another reason why I interrupted him as well is because now he's talking about the past. We're talking about right now, like what's happening now, not what happened before, not why. Like you're using excuses for what's happening right now. Now, again, I don't agree with the whole black fatigue thing. I speak on this, as far as communities, and it's so ridiculous how we're just so separated as race, and we have a class issue, not a race issue. I'll say it every video until people actually get it. So, it's really interesting to just hear how people are so stuck on the past, bro. It's like, dude, that what happened before is what happened before. That is not happening now, but I will allow him to continue. And guess what? It's my show, so I don't care.
Rapping, gangster lyrics. Those people were going to church. They was conservative. Their pants was buckled up. They was going to church and all that. And they was blowing them shits up. So when I hear
Perfect.
white people, the most violent, the most aggressive, the most pillaging people to ever walk the face of this planet, actually call out people who are just showing the side effects of years of mental degradation, social degradation, economic
I agree with that.
chicanery.
I
And when
think I
they
kinda
want
So I absolutely 100% agree with what he said on that last topic, as far as like there is emotional trauma that's taking place, but to ignore it and act like it's not a real thing, that's the problem. How are you going to cure yourself? If you hear your car rattling, there's something wrong. Are you going to take it to the mechanic or just blame it on the previous owner?
you talk. I know you're getting triggered. It's gonna be a long night. Get
No,
ready.
I'm not triggered.
You're
I
triggered.
thought we
Get
could go back
ready.
and forth.
Get
Can
your,
we not?
nobody interrupted you. Get your seatbelt
Okay.
ready. It's gonna be a long night.
Overreaction
So,
I was talking
Yeah,
about.
no one look at you. See, like you
Actually, what's ironic about that is that he's the one that got triggered from her just saying, because what's happening here, and again, I'm going to interrupt him again because he's not focusing on the topic. When I was listening to this video earlier, I realized that he is emotionally immature and he has zero control over his emotions. And if he does have control over his emotions, he's not demonstrating it here in this entire video, and you'll see. That's not to say I'm perfect. Everyone has a wrong, everyone is guilty for something. Me, I didn't have control over my emotions. I'm Puerto Rican. We have like blood pressure through the roof. It's okay to it's not about speaking negatively about your culture or whatever, because like, according to black people's and some arguments that I have or debates, nothing like this. But whatever's convenient for them, it's like I'll be half black because I'm Puerto Rican, Taino Indian. And then if it doesn't suit their narrative, it's like, okay, well, you're not even black at all, so why are you talking? Neither is Obama, right? He's half white. So and you see how what I just did, I just changed it and threw it in there, and that's what he's doing. So that's why Pearl is interrupting him, because it's just like you're not even on topic right now. You just went off in a tangent when you're simply asked, what does black fatigue mean to you? Not, can you explain to me your feelings and how you feel about it? And that's not what no, that's
can't
absolutely
even help
incorrect.
it. You can't even help it. We ain't even get started yet. See, you ain't never.
And now they're making fun
Get
of
your
her.
popcorn ready, baby.
And she's
So like I
laughing.
was saying, right? Like I was saying, right? Because we got literature. We ain't gonna just talk from just our thoughts. I hope you got some literature on your side, Miss Pearl, excuse me, Pearl. I hope you got some literature, because I'm not gonna just speak from my thoughts, my opinions. I'm gonna quote from literature. So what I'm saying is, I'm tired of ignorance of all races. But to hear white
too.
people go out their way to co-sign this, when most of black people's issues, whether it be the drug issue, whether it be their issues with relationships, whether it be their issues with economics, whether it be their the hijacking of their arts and the hijacking of putting the negative images as far as music. We don't control media. We don't control the major network.
I'm going to interrupt him again. You want to know why? He's not on topic. What is black fatigue to you? This is not a debate and what's funny is that he's challenging Pearl, and when she fires back, stop interrupting. Well, you're not getting to your point. What's the point you're trying to make? What's black fatigue to you? It's a simple question.
So for anything black people to do that we do negatively to be broadcasted to the world has to be funded, co-signed, and endorsed by a European. So to hear these same people talk about
That was such a stupid thing to say. And you're talking about you have literature. Like that was such a stupid thing to say. But I do agree with you on some of what you're saying. But that one part, blaming the European, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? We're in America, brother.
Things they've done to these people, and then when they have the nerve to show the side effects of that, say, hey,
Oh,
I don't know what they're
Lord.
talking about, just shows you what we're dealing with. So black fatigue is no such thing as black fatigue. It's just the fatigue of just ignorance of American culture.
I
And it's
agree.
eroding black people because we've been attached to most of these atrocities the most. So excuse us for the fact that we don't want to talk to you like we used to. We don't want to be as gracious as we used to, because when our parents was and our grandparents was going to church and saying, yes, master, yes, Paul, yeah, you would blow their heads off. There was a story of a man, and I'm gonna shut up. There's a story of a man, I forgot his name, but there was a story. There was I can tell you about what happened in my job today. But there was
What
there
does
was
this
a
have to
story
do
of a
with-
man, I think his name was Booker, I forgot his last name. This was in the 50s, not that long ago. So let's not act like history don't matter, because we celebrate.
Dude, you weren't even alive in the 50s, bro. Anyone, I said this in another video, how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go back as far as Adam and Eve? Because Eve should have been slapped. You're talking about the discussion is what does black fatigue mean to you? And you are talking about something that has nothing to do with what it means to you. You are literally just sitting there and complaining with emotion. That's why you proved this is going to be a 4-segment video, I guess, because you just proved that you're emotionally unstable. You can't handle your emotions.
4th of July every year. We celebrate past the Civil War and 7 years ago, Ulysses Grant, all these old forefathers, we acknowledge them every year. So the history means a whole lot to this country. He worked at a restaurant for white people, and he said, hey, I try to do my best. I be nice. They call me the N-word.
Who gives a fuck,
I'm just trying to
dude?
take care of my family. I'm trying to take care of my kids. At nighttime, I got my own restaurant, and I work it myself. So this man works for white people in the daytime, Mississippi, and at nighttime, he works at his own restaurant. So at that time, black people, we don't have, even now, but in the 50s, you think, who owns cameras? Who owns media networks?
Bro,
So
we're in
So even the
2026.
people who
We're not in the
interviewed him
50s.
was white. But guess what happened to that man? They killed him days later.
In the 50s.
Just because he had the nerve to tell white people who asked him, well, how white people treat you, just for him to get
That's
killed
not
by white
happening now. You see, that's
people. So I
some
don't want to hear
emotional.
no white person.
That's emotional female shit. Like the mother of my child just always mentioned in the past. It's like, what am I doing now? Like, can we focus on what's happening now? How can we fix what's happening? You want to go back and fix what's happening in the 50s? That we can't. We can't go back in time. There's nothing we can do about what happened. Period. At that time in the 50s, maybe you guys had white fatigue, obviously, from what you're saying. And I'm sympathetic to that. But we're not in the 50s. We're here right now.
Talk about black fatigue. Now, if you want to talk about the degradation of America, you want to talk about the lack of literacy in youth, you want to talk about just drugs in general.
Where's the moderator?
Immoral culture of Western culture. I'm all for that. But don't blame it on black people, because we're only doing what was done to us.
Moderator, hello.
All right, Per, you want to respond real quickly?
Yeah, I had a question. How does this work? Am I able, when they're talking, can we go back and forth like a conversation, or that's not allowed here? I'm okay with either. I just
Should
wasn't
be a
positive.
back and forth.
I mean, if you want to interject, and if the person allows it,
You
then
should
that's fine. But
challenge.
if they say let me finish, then just allow them to finish. Then I'll just come back to you so you can respond.
Yeah, because you was doing every person. Like, everybody went their turn. He went in row. We could see the panels. He went one by one. It was my.
The person that doesn't want someone to interrupt is interrupting. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, again, I would say even in that interaction, I was very polite to you, where you automatically assumed the worst. So that kind of
What did I assume?
reiterates what I was talking about.
What did I assume?
The next argument I'm going to go through. So I'm going to,
No, but what did I assume?
I'm going to keep going. That's going to
Well,
be
you never answered,
gaslighting
okay.
right there. So gaslight, pretend you weren't doing what you did, which is totally fine. I'm a big girl, I can handle it. But
No,
this
you
is an
can't.
example of the black fatigue. Then they're,
This
you're
is
saying
tribalism.
you're blaming it on history. I just think that's goes back to white people are kind of tired of hearing excuses.
Yep.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Anyone's
Of course you
tired
are.
of
But
hearing
why
that.
wouldn't you be tired of it?
As an
Of course you are.
adult, you are responsible for your own behavior. So if you do something rude, or if you commit a crime, you are responsible. Nobody else is responsible for it.
Absolutely. But that's not a black crime. It's not a black
White
issue.
people commit more crime in this country than black people. So let's if we're gonna speak facts, let's really stop talk statistics and stop just blowing just saying out anything, because like Illa said, you're just
Black men are
talking.
20 times
You're
more
not really
violent.
spewing out any facts.
Black men are
Because
20 I can
over
agree with that.
50%. No, let me
Black
speak.
men are 20
Over-
times more
over-
violent than white men.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you see like these people, and I'm not talking about black people, I'm talking about the panel. None of them want her to interrupt, but they all interrupting. Like what the fuck are y'all doing? No one is superior to more than anyone on this panel. The only person that's superior is me, because it's my fucking animal. I'm just kidding. But like, look at all these interruptions, but they don't want her to interrupt. And again, the reason why she interrupted you is because you're not staying on topic. So if you're not going to stay on topic, then let's go back and forth.
Man, you're showing
Hold
what you're hiding.
Hold on.
She said
Hold
off
on.
with the interruptions.
Hold on.
She should have started
Hold on.
interrupting people, because we
Hold
weren't
on.
interrupting nobody. But
Okay.
you want to interrupt, so now you're flowing off the flow of the flow, which is what they do in real life.
I
Go
got
off
This
the
dude
flow.
has
White,
no
white.
control.
it. Hold on.
This dude has zero control over his emotions. That's sad.
Hold on, you guys.
True.
Hold on.
She throwing up racist
Hold on.
talking points.
Hold on. Let's just do one at a time. Okay, I got the timer. We're gonna do 3 minutes and 50-second timer. Go ahead, let Pearl finish. Getting back to Illa. Illa just remain on silent until she finishes. Go ahead, Pearl. You're on mute. Let me take you off.
Felonies. 51% of arrests for murder in 2019 were black. Black women are 7% of the population, 39% of abortions. Felony conviction rate for black individuals is 61%. Black people are 13% of the population, but are incarcerated 38% of the time. 48% of black adults are obese. 54% of black women are obese. 1 in 4 black children born in 1990 had an imprisoned parent by age 14. Yeah, so if you want facts, there are some facts. Go ahead.
I would like to know, how do you quantify black men being more violent? I think that there's statistics, but how do you go and measure that? Like, without just the numbers, how do we go through our daily lives and observing just reality that black men, just by default, just by being black, are more violent than all other males walking around? How do we quantify that?
Okay, I'll take it from here, Pearl. I'll let you answer after. As the moderator of this, I lived in Kentucky. Like, when I say live, I mean like years. I lived in Kentucky, born and raised in the Bronx, New York. And all over the Bronx, New York, not just, in one. I know people that's lived in one apartment for like 30 years. No, we were all over the place. We didn't have a steady upbringing, and to a certain point. I lived in Delaware. I've lived in Florida for many years, actually, back and forth. Virginia, been living here, I think, the longest at this point. Consistently. No. New York will be a consistent until, like, we'll see what happens in the future. So you asked a question and you said, how do we quantify that? Not her. I'm talking for me. I'm not talking for Pearl. But the way I can do that, when you talk about violent crimes, yes, black people has that statistic off, like violent crimes that I've experienced in my life, including getting robbed, jumped, held at gunpoint, knife point, you name it. And I could go into great detail every time that happened. I'm not going to blame the whole black population for that, but statistically speaking, from my statistics, I don't give a fuck what she's reading. And I don't agree with everything Pearl says. I think like her approach to black people is a little inappropriate when it comes to it's not that she hates them, it's just inappropriate the way she approaches it. Just like Nick Fuentes. I agree with a lot of what Nick Fuentes says. I agree with a lot of this panel is about to say. But that doesn't mean that I have to it's not all or nothing. Like I can disagree with certain people on certain topics. And not only that, it's like none of y'all are perfect. There's no admission here. There's one guy that's about to give a little admission, but there's like all these people think they're high and mighty and victims. None of these people are victims. If you're victims of anything, it's the emotional genetic trauma that we all went through. Each and every one of us in all colors. Like we are all genetically traumatized from the atrocities that have taken place for thousands of fucking years. And even to this day, we're still being traumatized by a system of class, not race. This is why it's important to have these conversations because everyone here, or the majority of people here, are so focused on race, and you're forgetting about the class, and that's what the higher classes want you to think. Because if when it comes to violent crimes, yes, black people, Hispanics are guilty. But when it comes to white collar crimes, oh yeah. Now there's a whole other level of crime. It's just not violent. That doesn't mean they are not criminals, and that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable. Because if you put any race or culture into a poor neighborhood where you're not giving them access to succeed the way your generations have, there's going to be problems. Bro, when I lived in Kentucky, we went to the hood of white people. It's all the same. It's all the same. The hood is the hood, the ghettos are the ghettos. But to pretend like you have some kind of card because your family went through slavery. My dude, I learned after years that I'm able to squat and work on my feet as a squatting position, doing hardwood floors and all that because of my ancestors and how they were slaves. Yes, know your history and appreciate your history and understand where you come from. But I'm not going to blame white people or black people or Asian people. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm just going to kick ass and succeed. And that's why you see a lot of successful black business owners. You see a lot of successful black athletes and actors, etc. We don't have a race issue in this country. We have a culture issue. I'm sorry, not a culture issue, a class issue. We used to have a really serious race issue, but the white people, not the white people, but the white race, because some people don't consider themselves like white. If you're Jewish or whatever the case is, they are the minority in this country now. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but they are the minority. What we need to focus on is who's hoarding the money, that and the resources. That's what we need to talk about. And it's important to have these conversations because we need to chip away at this situation that we're having because we're gonna wind up getting into another civil war if this shit does not stop immediately. And using terminologies like black fatigue is inappropriate. We should not be using that terminology. Again, it was funny at first, but it's not funny anymore. So let's continue.
I would say number one, the data reflects it, and also my real lived experience. I would say that is what I have seen in real life. So.
Can't blame her for that.
I haven't seen a black.
You cannot blame her for that the same way you can't blame you guys being mad at white people and what you've experienced, which according to this panel right here, they haven't experienced anything. All they're doing is talking about what happened in the past, but they weren't there. All you do is see what a movie said, what a book said, and a TV screen said, but you haven't personally experienced it. And that's not to say no one has. Because if anything, me growing up, the people who got picked on the most were white people and the Asians because there weren't many in the Bronx when I was growing up. There were not many. And then you had the corner stores with the what we used to call them my babies, not in a derogatory manner. It's just what it is, you know. Uh, and you had what else? I'll think of it as it comes, but yeah, let's continue. It's not what it seems, bro. It really isn't.
Men be violent in my years of experience. So what do we
You've never seen a black person ever be violent in your experience of living. Like you're in fucking La La Land, dude. I've seen all cultures be violent in my experience. So you must be Patrick living under a rock because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And this kind of dishonesty shouldn't even be allowed on the panel. If you're gonna be delusional and dishonest like that, you should be kicked off the panel. Where's the moderator? Like, this is not moderation. This is just like, all right, everyone, just say this is stupid. This is not
talking
making
about?
any sense.
Okay.
It's 43 million Black Americans that live on it that live here. So your statistics are flawed, like all of the rest of
Flawed.
statistics.
How are they flawed?
Because statistically, Black men are not more violent than white men.
They're
Yes,
just
they are. Yes, they are. Today, but she's about to bring up the past. Watch.
That's not.
They're
That's just not a stated fact.
they're 20.
No. That's just
Where are
not a
your
stated
fa-
fact.
where are your
And
facts?
literally colonized an entire civilization. White men are inherently violent.
Inherently, the
Right.
past.
That's why we have all of this school stuff going on. We're not doing that.
Do you feel safer in a white neighborhood or a black neighborhood?
I feel more safer in a Black neighborhood.
Well,
That's
That's
a
why
lie.
I'm living on property in
God,
one.
God help you.
Yeah, I
God.
do. I don't feel safe around white people. Like I'm scared of you right now. I'm afraid.
She's afraid. Afraid of what? Words? And then Pride Man over here. I'm not. I'm not. Yo, pride makes the man fall, bro. You're not perfect. Everyone has their wrongs. Even me. Everyone. So I don't know why you're parading around like you're some perfect level. Like it's.
Because it's because of the white fatigue.
Wait, are you on coke or something?
Because
Like, is
to
this
answer
dude coked
JR's
out of his
question,
mind?
I believe that Black
the
fatigue
hell you
is the
taking?
original answer. And I believe that they tried to flip it just like they
You got one man that looks like he's like zooted out of his mind, and then one this dude is high out of his mind. She's midterm. She's old school, so she already has that hate embedded in her heart. Uh, I can't read her real quick. All right, let's
try
continue.
to crowbar their way into using the N word by trying to tell people that that's okay because they now want to say it. No, it's for us and it's
If you don't like the N word, stop using it yourself. Until you keep using it, people are gonna use it. So knock it off.
by us. Y'all can't say that either. And y'all can't try to hijack a term that the professor wrote a book about it. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show the
A book. A professor wrote a book, so that's the end of the story. Like, ended the whole entire debate right now is done because a professor wrote a book.
colonizer mindset that you guys have
Lord.
in your
Oh
brain.
God.
It's literally disgusting.
No,
And
you're
it's sickening,
disgusting.
right? It's like almost like a mental illness to me because
Yeah.
there's no way that y'all just really came in and hijacked this term in an effort to humiliate or talk down on Black people. When you pull up those statistics, do you know that Black people patent over 50,000 inventions in this country? Do you know that we built institutions? We actually built this country from scratch.
No, you
So
didn't.
when you bringing up statistics, please,
What institutions did
we
you?
Yo,
know
let her
who
finish
we are,
talking.
We know our history. We know who we are. We know our history, and we know we've been here, and we still here. Like 47% of Black Americans live in the middle class. So that little small degenerate class of people that you like to brag about and y'all like to put on the forefront, we don't like them either. They get shunned by us.
I don't know where you're getting your information from, but please educate us.
So this whole concept of Black fatigue doesn't really exist. Like Illa said, it doesn't exist. That's just a people fatigue.
Yeah,
No
but you
one
can't.
likes
You
to
can't.
hear it.
Well, you can't.
I agree with that. Like I have a people fatigue. I don't care what color you are. Humans are getting on my nerves right now. Period. And this is why right here. Bias already came in with her like a biased opinion. No one here, it doesn't seem like anyone here is ready to learn and understand why she feels the way. Instead of trying to understand why she feels the way she feels, they're just attacking her. That's all it is. Attacking her, her culture, not what they're doing now, what happened in the past, right? Because when you're looking at when I'm driving, I just stare at the rear view mirror because it's going to get me to my destination more efficiently and faster. Man,
Tell
So
sad.
people
you
how
like
you can't
Netflix crime.
you can't
You
tell
don't
people
like any of those
okay.
things.
If
So
you okay,
it's a given.
you can't tell
Can I
people
please,
how to
can I
be.
please
Hold
talk?
on, y'all. Hold on.
We live under a
You
system
can't.
of white
Hold on,
supremacy.
Pearl.
Right
Hold on,
now,
Pearl.
we live under a system of white supremacy. That's not going to change today. That's not going to change tomorrow. Currently in 2025, Black people live under a system of white supremacy. So the
Oh my God. Oh my God. People live under money supremacy. People live under hoarding. This is why, yeah, this is you want to talk about something being dangerous. This kind of thinking is wild. Wild. And this dude needs to chill. Like someone needs to get him some like melatonin or like something to just calm your blood pressure, bro. Like you sniffed way too much before this episode.
sit on this panel, Pearl, and be disingenuous and act like that doesn't exist. You lying. You lying.
All right. Let me go to get these other folks in before we go ahead and start this debate. Amir, I'm coming to you next with the same question. What does black fatigue mean to you?
Amir.
I don't know what to say. I mean,
Amir. That says Amara. That
I just want to be honest. Like every single time that we have this type of conversation, I can't speak honestly. I can't, because every time I speak, I get told to shut up. I'm not Black. I don't understand why they do the things that they do. If I speak on my observations, I'm seen as hateful. If I speak on pattern recognition, I'm seen as hateful or racist. I don't think that this is a proper panel for me to speak on those options.
Then fucking leave. Why are you even here? Like you're too busy worried about what other people think about you. Why the fuck are you even on this panel? Where, yo, moderator, who is in charge of this fucking show? I think it's him. I would, dude, what the hell are you doing? You're just bringing people on here for the sake of what? Just having them on here? I don't understand what the hell you're doing. What is going on? You have someone on here that doesn't want to speak. You're wasting a spot. What the fuck?
On those topics. I would love to, but every time that I want to bring out a problem or an issue, it turns into something that is not fruitful. I didn't know what the topic was before I came on, JR. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you can speak on it.
What the fuck?
No, we did this last time.
Really?
And
So why are you here?
last
Just
time-
delete you.
No, I mean, we did this last time. I mean, I can't. I mean,
Pearl's
I don't even
laughing
wanna
too. It's
speak on it
hilarious.
because-
Why? What
I
are you
would like to
doing?
know
I
I would like to know what would you
Look, the guy. Stop interrupting me. Can we zoom in on him? Shit, I gotta learn this program. Zoom sucks, by the way. Don't ever get Zoom to do. I'm trying to find another program to do podcast because Zoom is just fucking garbage. But look at this dude. He's like, stop interrupting, bro. And he's just like constantly interrupting. It's quite comical. What the hell is going on? Look at yeah.
say is one of the problems that you observe, Amir? If you're saying there's a problem,
True, you weren't here the last time, or maybe you were.
Poor victim.
We
Everyone's a
talked
victim.
about it briefly, and all I did was speak about what we see. And then, as soon as I spoke about things I see, it was like, one of the answers was, well, that's because white people did this, and you don't understand because they did this, and that's what.
All right, young lady, other people's opinions are none of your business. If you think for 1 second, Bo, we're going to go to a second segment in a second, and I'll leave it here. If you think she gives a shit, Bohemi, Nori, whatever her name is, preaching to the wrong choir. Miss Pearl could give two shits about you. Pretty intellectual. It's just a weird name. I got rid of like those, 3 sheets and all that shit. Like when I was like a fucking child. If you're an adult, stop with these stupid names. It's so stupid. Aisha definitely doesn't give a fuck about what you think. True Table, maybe just to clap cheeks. And we haven't heard him speak yet.
Black people do this, and you can't speak on it because you're not black. So you don't know. So I don't.
The preemptive.
Why isn't Illa sophisticated? Illa, whatever the fuck his name is. Illa I know he's gonna fire back on me if he ever saw this. Like, yeah, you see, you can't even pronounce my name. You're ignorant. I don't care. Yeah. Why didn't you tell Pretty Intellectual why is she interrupting or anyone else? Why are you so focused on Pearl? Could it be because you're a racist? Ooh. No one cares, bro. All right, we're gonna have to go to another segment because this I'm telling you, it's gonna take like 4 segments for this one. And it's important again that we have this conversation. Again, I don't agree with anyone on this panel. You want to know why? Everyone on this panel, including Pearl, everyone is wrong. When you point the finger, there's like 3 more pointing back at you. So we're going to stop this one, and then we're going to go ahead and start another one.